frustration for a lot of people comes in the fact that we've all talked about there was some injury. Did we know it was going to be an avulsion fracture of the knee? No, but we knew something was coming with Tyron Smith because something's always affecting Tyron Smith's health consistently ever since really.
It's an automatic 3 games.
Yeah.
Every year. Automatic
2016.
3. Yeah.
So starting in 2016, Dak's first year, he's missed time consistently. And so I think that's the frustrating aspect for people is, yeah, you would have you like to know this now instead of week 2. But in theory, everybody feels like you knew this in the spring. You knew he was going to be gone during the spring. You didn't know for how long, but you should have been better prepared for this.
But you drafted Tyler, so can't that be used to counter and say that's your tackle?
Sure, but I think even internally there, and that's honestly the way they're probably going to have to play it. But I think internally they all felt like Tyler Smith. Somebody inside the building told me this. They said Tyler Smith will be the best offensive lineman coming out of this draft in 3 years. Probably not today, probably not next year, but in 3 years with some development, he will be the best offensive lineman to come out of the group. Above guys who went in the top 10, Ike Ekwonu, Charles Cross, Evan Neal, guys like that. So they think very highly of him, but they also recognize there was a curve. And I think that's why Joe Philbin and some of these other coaches with their jobs honestly on the line, they don't want part of their evaluation to be a guy that's raw and needs some time to come along.
Let me ask you another fair or unfair question. Rashawn Slater versus Micah Parsons? Hindsight?
That's tough because Slater is a stud. Slater is absolutely a cornerstone tackle. Micah Parsons has been so good that it's hard to say they messed that up. I don't think you can say they messed it up or that, Micah Parsons like, oh, rats, we got Micah Parsons. Would have been nice to have Slater, trade that in a heartbeat. But it does just...
I wouldn't have changed it.
I wouldn't either. You know what? I don't know. I'll have to look and see which names went after him. I just remember the 2020 draft was stacked with tackles, and they took CD. And CD's been good, but...
it's a fun 40 burger.
Is it?
It's a 40 burger.
Is that where you should have instead made the move?
Well, that was an Amari replacement.
Sure.
So if Amari sucks this year, I did a fantasy draft yesterday and listening to Matthew Berry, and he was saying, Amari won't be on any of my teams. No way. Now, maybe that's quarterback dependent, but if Amari stinks this year, then the CD move looks even better.
On that topic of the swing tackle, they routinely invested in veteran swing tackles throughout Dak's career. They brought in Byron Bell in 2017. It was Cameron Fleming in 18 and 19. It was Cameron Irving in 2020. It was last year. It was Ty Nsekhe. They've done this, and those guys have had to step in and play. And I kind of wonder if that's also where Jerry's perspective came from of like, I'm not signing another one of these veteran busts that came in here and has disappointed us.
Like backup quarterback.
Yeah, is that it's just kind of like, I would rather see these guys that our evaluators have said have a good future and roll with them. Because the last time we rolled with somebody that we brought in was, Terrence Steele. And Terrence Steele's a good enough player now that we replaced our starting right tackle with him. And Brandon Knight, and a guy who, Brandon Knight, obviously didn't start here, but as a spot starter did okay. And that was an evaluation player. And so I think that they've got so much trust in their personnel department and that evaluation that Jerry's kind of at a point now where it's like, we've busted way too many of these swing tackles. I want one of the young guys to do it.
The Cowboys, in my opinion, both of us had them 10-7.
Yep.
They weren't going to go to the Super Bowl this year, in my opinion. So let's just rip the page out and start the process now. If you got to go through growing pains this year, then you go through growing pains with Tyler Smith at left tackle. You throw him out there, and you just come to the understanding that you were, 7 out of 10 on a Super Bowl contender scale, and now you've probably gone to a 5, maybe even a 6. And you just, sometimes decisions have to be made for you in life versus you making the decision. And this can be the end of Tyron, unfortunately. Love the dude personally, Hall of Famer. But now the decision is being made for you. You move on, and you start the growing pains with Tyler at left tackle, no matter what it means for Dak and your football team.
Does that buy Mike McCarthy an extra year?
No.
You don't think so? Because you remember that kind of thing would buy that bought Garrett time in a couple different seasons where it's like, well, this guy got hurt and we got to really so
I'm not saying it should not. Actually, you know what? It should not buy him an extra year. Losing your left tackle, I've said this about the Tyron issue and some of the injury, Dak's weapons around here, and I don't want you to get mad. I'm not even going to give you a chance to respond because we're about to break. The amount of, and Michael Irvin goes off about this all the time, the amount of injuries that collapse this team versus some of the others throughout the league that are able to overcome it, it's maddening. So just losing your left tackle, that should not buy Mike McCarthy another year. That's ridiculous.
Okay. You told me I wasn't going to be able to respond.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I won high-low anyway. So.
I don't know why. Do you agree with that?
Yes, it shouldn't completely derail your season.
One left tackle.
It shouldn't, but it has in the past, so you know that it likely will.
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
It will, but should it?